Innovation in today's world is absolutely key. According to recent studies, the lack of innovation is the cause for companies to go out of business in less than a decade. But the thing is, we talk about innovation over and over and over and over again, but what is it actually, and why is it all about people? Why are people the center of innovation? Hi, I'm Hedi, and in today's innovation session, we'll clarify just that. If you're new to this channel, Hedi's Innovationgym is all about innovation and design thinking methods, strategy and mindset. If that sounds like something of benefit to you, consider subscribing and don't forget to hit the bell to get notified each time I post another video, which is Tuesdays. In terms of definition, innovation is the action or process of innovating. In other words, you create something new, a product, a service, a process, a strategy, a company culture, ... Most of us innovate incrementally. That means you make small changes, adaptations, create a novelty based on an old version. Another word for it is actually redesigning. Or not as often, radical or disruptive innovations are created, where entire industries are put out of business basically overnight. Like for instance, the car, there were no more horse carriages, or the iPod with no more CDs on the market. Innovation is the process of inventing, meaning finding an idea, finding a solution to people's needs and problems, and the process of then bringing this idea to life and to market. Now, we often see this diagram as a way to show the ingredients for innovation. The human ingredients, your customer, your client, your user, just different names in different industries. The business and the tech ingredient. And now, how are they related? Now, in my user-centric design thinking brain, any innovation must start with the human element. Whoever is the one using and benefiting from your service, your product, the new company culture, needs to be in the center of both processes, invention and then bringing it to the streets. Because they are the ones you are serving, and if you're serving right, they are buying. So to serve them right, you first and foremost need to know your customer and really know their problems. Now, this is sometimes easier said than done, and I'll give you a little anecdote of my experience just to illustrate. So before I was practicing what I'm practicing today, I was organizing festivals, music events. And I remember exactly 10 years ago, I was organizing a piano festival. And I remember I needed to find a solution for a very big problem. Just to give you a little bit of context, there were over 70 concerts, so over 70 pianists involved, and they were doing house concerts in their private homes and in special places like, for instance, the IKEA living room section. And these 70 plus concerts, they were taking place in only 2 days. And I remember I was basically the only one organizing it with fantastic initiators, but they were busy with their own concerts. And now the pianists had, of course, concerns. It was something completely new to them. They were used to playing in concert halls where everything was organized for them, and especially how people enter the space. They would, of course, just enter the stage and play. But now their responsibility was to welcome the audience themselves, check whether they had tickets, and then play for them eventually. So they were, of course, complaining because they didn't have anybody to help them check the entrance tickets. And especially in bigger spaces like IKEA, that was a big problem. But I was alone. And back then I was like, okay, the problem is they don't have anybody, so I will give them somebody. So my solution naturally was calling up all my friends who were absolute angels, helping me and the pianists during those 2 days, rushing all over the city and being there at most concerts. But actually, that wasn't the problem. Not having anybody to help wasn't the actual problem. It was one solution that was phrased as a problem, or that I thought was a problem. But the problem actually was the pianists didn't feel safe. The pianists didn't feel safe, and also they didn't feel like having time or any help to deal with the entrance situation. They were just lost. So in retrospect, had I known what the problem really was, I would have been able to serve so much better and so much easier, for instance, with a simple checklist, a step-by-step on how to welcome and let the private audience enter, or a hotline just in case. Anything really that would have given them the feeling we've got your back and your concerns are heard and you're safe. Make sense? I hope so. So in order to know the real problems and pain points, you must, of course, know your user, your customer, ask them, listen to them. You must be really willing to find out what is really behind a request. Like, I'd like to have support at the entrance process of my audience. But now it doesn't stop there. Because in order to market the best solution, they have to approve it, and the best way to describe it is with a habit of really customer integration. So not one time, hi customer, what's your problem? But have them really as a part of the entire process. How? Let them test your product. Let them test your service. You only know 100% for sure if the hotline or the checklist is the right thing, if that makes them feel secure, only if you have gotten that feedback from them directly. And even better if you have given it prior to them and sort of did a dry run, a mini version of the whole concert experience with the hotline and the checklist. So really as close to the real life situation as possible, that will give you the most accurate data. You also must be willing to accept that if the feedback is negative, like you find out that the checklist is crap, the service doesn't make any sense or doesn't make them feel cool, calm and collected, that you change it. And maybe you found out that the problem is actually another problem. For instance, that the audience comes late because they forgot the address of the pianist. I don't know. So whatever it is, whatever happens, be willing to toss away your initial idea, be willing to create a new one based on your new insights, or iterate, meaning change the old one so it's really of service. Only then can you make sure it's a good invention and it's desirable and it helps your user, your client, and they buy it eventually. By the way, for more on a step-by-step approach on how to innovate, check out this video on design thinking. Now it's time to market. We just press the button and then it's done. That would be so nice. No, of course not. By now, because our customer has been the center of our innovation, of our invention process so far, we know what they, hence our market needs, desires, and we can deliver. Also, we exceed expectations, so we can be more desirable than our competitors. We know what they want, yet we're not obsessed with them like Microsoft has been with Apple, for instance, but like Apple being totally obsessed with our customer, and therefore we succeed. Make sense? Different mindset. Because you sell your products and services to your customers, right? Not your competitors. And lastly, what about tech? Tech should never be the beginning of any innovation process, though it seems sometimes like it because we have all these great tech solutions out there. But really the good ones are just the answers to problems or desires, and I don't believe successful products and services were starting with someone saying something like, let's create an app. You know what I mean? I might be wrong, but I've never experienced a process that was successful in that way. So tech is, as I said, the means to get the best service to your customer. It's like the translation, and what might work today might not work in 3 years' time. Maybe it's outdated then. So really the key is, again, knowing your customer, finding out what are my customers using, what apps, what tech do they love, and if at all, because there's no use inventing a smart, I don't know, fork or a smart stick for walking assistance for the elderly if they absolutely hate and don't trust technology. To make sure, make this tech question definitely part of the problem finding and testing process. And also, if you really know the needs of your customer, you can adapt in 3 years' time. Now we're all set? Still not 100%, because yeah, we start with the customer, we carry on with the customer, and actually we never end with the customer. The whole marketing, selling process and staying on top of the game is an ongoing process of checking if I'm still on top of my client's needs or what needs to be adapted so it can keep flying, I can keep flying. Maybe you remember Kodak, one of, I think, the saddest stories in history. They were so obsessed with their best-selling product, film, that they wouldn't realize how the market shifted, how digital camera took over answering the customer's needs, and they're basically gone. So customer integration is key through the entire process. And this diagram is maybe a little bit confusing because it's not three. They're not equal. I think you have the customer in the middle as the heart, and tech and your business model as a result of that. So tada, new diagram, folks. Let me know in the comments if that was helpful and what your personal definition on innovation is. Check out my other videos for innovation methods, mindset and strategy to thrive in this VUCA world. And subscribe if you haven't done so, and hit the bell to never miss another innovation episode. Thanks so much for your time and energy, and see you next time here on this channel. Bye bye.